Anxiety is the highest mental illness that Americans suffer from. With anxiety and depression affecting around 40 million in the United States, someone you love or you yourself could be suffering from one or both. It is important to know the different forms of anxiety. There are three, and there are six forms of depression. Knowing the forms as well as the signs and symptoms, you could be on the lookout for the mental health of someone you love or bettering your mental health. Both can be taken care of if dealt with in the correct way. I chose this topic because it is something that I have dealt with as a young adult and I still deal with. I have found ways to cope with my disorders without the use of drugs. This isn't always the case as everyone is different and they get affected differently. It is important to know the different types of depression and anxiety because they can have different signs and symptoms. I will start with the six types of depression. The first is major depression. Usually this only occurs once but can occur more often. This affects the person's ability to eat, sleep, work, and enjoy life. Second is persistent depressive disorder. The person experiences long periods of depression, which could be major and usually lasts for at least 2 years. Third is psychotic depression. This disorder occurs in people who have depression and a form of psychosis. This disorder causes the person to be delusional and hallucinate. Fourth is postpartum depression. This happens to 10 to 15% of women after giving birth. Physical and hormonal changes and the new baby to care for can be very overwhelming to a new mother. The fifth is seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD. This occurs during winter months and will usually subside in springtime. This usually occurs because there is less natural sunlight in the winter. Light therapy alone has not been proven to treat SAD. Psychotherapy and medication are known to show relief on people suffering from this disorder. And the final depression disorder is bipolar disorder, also known as manic depressive illness. This is characterized by extreme changes in a person's mood. They go through extreme highs, known as mania, and extreme lows, known as depression. Signs and symptoms of all forms of depression include persistent sad or anxious feelings, feeling helpless, hopeless, or worthless, loss of interest in once enjoyable activities, fatigue or decrease in energy, difficulty making decisions and remembering, excessive sleeping, insomnia or waking early, overreacting, overeating, loss of appetite, thoughts of suicide or suicide attempts, aches, headaches, cramps, and digestive issues. Depression and anxiety go hand in hand. Most people with one will have the other. They consist of a lot of the same signs and symptoms. There are three major forms of anxiety. I will first start off with generalized anxiety disorder. It is also known as GAD. People suffering from this will overworry even when there is nothing to worry about. They are always anxious. Signs and symptoms of having a hard time relaxing, difficulty concentrating, they startle easily, they have difficulty getting to sleep and staying asleep. They will also suffer from fatigue, headaches, muscle and tension aches, nausea, irritability, sweating, hot flashes, and lightheadedness. The second is panic disorder. Sometimes this runs in families, but not always. Signs and symptoms are repetitive and sudden real attacks, worrying of next attack, avoiding or fearful of where the attack happened. Physical symptoms include racing heart, breathing issues, sweating, dizziness, chills, stomach and chest pains, and numb or tingling hands. The last is social phobia, also known as anxiety disorder. Like panic disorder, it can also run in families, but not always. Signs and symptoms are very anxious around people and have a hard time conversing, feeling embarrassed or self conscious around others, prolonged worrying before an event, avoiding events where people will be, issues making and keeping friends, blush or sweat around others, and nauseous with or around others. Basically, everyone will most likely experience occasional anxiety. Knowing the types and signs and symptoms can help us know on how to help the people that are suffering. Statistics states that nearly 36.9% of people who suffer from anxiety and depression are not receiving treatment or help. These people, like myself, may not like to use medication. I have found other ways to cope with my anxiety and depression, and my loved ones know how to help me in times of my attacks. If we know what our loved ones are going through, we can have better knowledge and better chances of helping them through their hard times.